Hello, good afternoon, and you are welcome to Mining for the Truth, which refers to the process of digging to discover the undiluted doctrines of Christ. The page exists to share the truth and then to share the word. My name is Joseph Atta. I attend Church of Christ. I am speaking to you live from Ghana, West Africa, precisely in Takoradi, in my own room. I welcome all my viewers from Australia, USA, Nigeria, all over Ghana and all over the world. You are welcome. I've seen one sister. You are welcome. Two have joined, but one has not been seen. I've seen only one person so far. I thank you for making the time to join me. I apologize a lot. In fact, it is 1:45, now 1:46. Today, I ended my classes with my students, so I won't be meeting them again from next week. So next week, God willing, if no program should come, I will be here between 11 and 1 o'clock than this 1:45 and 1:46. I was supposed to go to University of Mines and Technology, School for Railways and Infrastructure Development, Katan, we mean a second campus, Takoradi, for an evangelism. But because of soccer game and some reasons, the evangelism has been postponed. If not, by now, I'll be there very busy defending cessation of tongues. We mean tongue speaking. 1 Corinthians 13 verse 8. So by all means, I'll go there and then teach one day. Now, what do I have for you today? But before then, you can also go to my page to like. You see that I've pasted some YouTube channel there. Please subscribe, like, and share the video. There are some videos there. I intend to preach there, but I need more subscribers before I can qualify to go live to preach. Otherwise, unless I record a video and then upload it, but I want to go live as I am live here on Facebook. Rules there are different from rules in Facebook. So please, all my three Facebook accounts, BIML and then LIMS. I mean, where I'm now preaching. Then we have another one, Joseph Atta. We have also another one, Joseph Atokamnata. Please go and then subscribe, share, and like the videos. I need about 50 to 100 subscribers. Now I have 30. I thank all those who have subscribed. In fact, someone subscribed yesterday. I am so grateful for everything. The purpose is to post welding training and then also teaching and sermons from the Bible. Now, today will be on Sabbath. Next week, God's willing, if there's no obstacle, I will treat why Sunday worship. Then the next topic will be tithes. And then the last will be on tongues. Tongue speaking. So you see that I have nice packages for you. Now today we are on, should we keep the Sabbath day? Should we keep the Sabbath day? Exodus 31, verse 12, verse 13, and verse 16. And then the same Exodus 35, verse 1 to 3. Should we keep the Sabbath day? So it is a question. We're going to interrogate ourselves. Should we keep the Sabbath day? We who? At the end, you know the we is making reference to. So by way of introduction, he's saying that Sabbath was first mentioned as having been instituted in paradise when man was innocent. Let's go to Genesis 2 verse 2. Genesis 2 verse 2. And on the seventh day, God finished his work and he had done. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work that he had done. So here was where the Sabbath occurred first. That being instituted in paradise when man was innocent, the Sabbath was made for man as a day of rest and refreshment for the body and of blessing to the soul. The Sabbath was made for man as a day of rest and refreshment for the body and blessing to the soul. So man was to work for 6 days and rest on the 7th day. That's why we have the name Sabbath. Rest on the 7th day. Now we continue. It is next referred to in connection with the gift of manna to the children of Israel in the wilderness. Let's go to the same Exodus 16 verse 23. So I'm trying to trace the origin of a Sabbath anyway. Exodus 16, sorry, I was on Genesis. 16 verse 23. Oh, very good, I'm here. Of course, second book of Moses anyway. 16 verse 23. He said to them, "This is what the Lord has commanded. Tomorrow is a day of solemn rest, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. Bake what you will bake and boil what you will boil, and all that is left over lay aside to be kept till the morning." So no work was to be done on the 7th day or the Sabbath day. No work. You continue. It later became the law. So all this was not a law. It later became the law. Now, when I say all this wasn't a law, I'm making reference to the Garden of Eden. But now, when you go to Exodus 20 verse 11, let's go there and see. Exodus 20 verse 11. 20 verse 11. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested on the 7th day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Now you are hereby informed that this forms part of the 10 Commandments. From Exodus 20 verse 1 to 17 is when you find this law. So the verse 11 forms part of the 10 Commandments. So here it then became a law given from Sinai, of course, through Moses. And here is where Moses became the mediator. He became the recipient of the law. So God gave him the laws, and then he was to send to the nation of Israel, or the Israelites, if you want. The people were solemnly charged to remember the Sabbath day. They were specifically and commanded. They were forced to obey the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. To keep it holy. Thus, it is spoken of as an institution already existing. Yes, it was there already. That's why God had to now make it an institution. In the Mosaic law, strict regulations were laid down regarding the Sabbath. Go to Exodus 35 verse 2 and verse 3. Leviticus 23 verse 3. The same Leviticus 26 verse 34. I repeat, in the Mosaic law, we mean in the Mosaic age, in the Mosaic dispensation, strict regulations were laid down regarding the Sabbath observance, seen in Exodus 35 verse 2 and 3, Leviticus 23 verse 3, same Leviticus 26 verse 34. These were peculiar to Mosaic dispensation. The Sabbath rules and regulations, everything on Sabbath, were peculiar to the Mosaic dispensation or age, for the Israelite only. For the Israelite only. So now the question is the Saturday Sabbath the Christian day of worship? Is the Saturday Sabbath the Christian day of worship? To some churches, yes. To others, no. Churches of Christ say no. We say no. In fact, the introduction or the smaller history has even elaborated that it was specifically given to the Israelites and the Mosaic dispensation. Remember, the Sabbath formed part of the Ten Commandments in Exodus 20 verse 1 to 17. And verse 11 is when we saw the Sabbath day, that the Israelites must keep it holy. They were to work for 6 days and rest on the 7th day. The nation of Israel, or the Israelites. Now, what is Sabbath? Or what is the Sabbath? It comes from the Hebrew word Shabbath. 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 Denoting to rest from labor. That's one. So number one, it means to rest from labor. Number two, it also suggests the day of rest. So basically it's about resting. When you are done with working for 6 days, you rest on the 7th day. Now, we'll go to the synopsis and objectives of the presentation. In fact, I find this topic so cheap and interesting. The issue is that, or the conclusion is that, Sabbath has become obsolete. Of course, a Mosaic age was overthrown by Christian age. Hebrews 8 verse 13. So therefore, the Mosaic law or the age or dispensation have become obsolete. They are no more there. My fellow brethren in the church who are afraid to defend this, it is a shame. I find it so cheap, so sometimes I don't even want to teach it. I wasn't taught by anybody, but I see it to be so cheap because the whole thing has expired, and something which has expired need not to be defended. You don't suffer to prove it wrong because the thing has already expired. Even in our tradition, they are saying that the dead is always guilty. When someone dies, and then maybe there was a dispute, and now they're going to settle it, because the person is dead, he is also guilty. So the Sabbath law is gone. So means that there's no way that someone can prove it. Yes, so this makes it so cheap to defend it or to disprove. So cheap and easy. Now, synopsis and the objectives of the studies. One, we are saying that by the end of the teachings, the listener or the learner will be able to know 4 reasons why we should not keep the Sabbath day. So I'll give you 4 reasons why we should not keep the Sabbath day. When I say we, I mean churches of Christ. If we're Christian, you are we even come there. So know the 4 reasons why we should not keep the Sabbath day. B, know the 10 rules on the Sabbath. Now, if you are a Christian is a property of Christ. Christ is your owner, and Christ is your mentor. Where there's mentor, the mentee has a direction. You have no right whatsoever that you are a Christian, then you are worshiping on Saturday. It is a sin, and at the end, you know it. If you're a Christian, do what Christ do. Don't just steal the name. Be hypocrites, doing what you want to. Even in exams, in all the exams, marking scheme is used, in case you're unaware. And then the examiner and then the markers, they don't care your ignorance. So ignorance is not an excuse. So if you don't go to heaven, don't blame Jesus Christ. Sabbath is not found anywhere in New Testament worship. No. It has become obsolete. Hebrews 8 verse 18. All the rules and regulations governing a Mosaic law, age, dispensation are all gone, outmoded, and have been overcome by Christian age. So we, the Christians, New Testament worshippers who are prophets of Christ, we worship on Sunday. That's why I'm saying that the following week will be why Sunday worship, because the Sunday came to replace the Saturday one. All right, now let's take them one by one and then we do justice to it. A, 4 reasons why we should not keep the Sabbath day. 1, to whom? So here are questions and answers. You see, as I said, I will not waste my time on this Sabbath. So here, I ask a question and then I answer it. Number 1 of 4 reasons why we should not keep the Sabbath day. 1, to whom was the Sabbath given? To the Hebrews only. Now read full story from Deuteronomy 5 verse 2 to 15. But at least I will start to read and then I'll pause somewhere. I can't read everything. Deuteronomy 5 verse 2. I read. The Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb. Not with our fathers did the Lord make this covenant, but with us, who are all of us here alive today. God was speaking to the Israelites through Moses. That's why we say that to the Hebrews only. You can say to the nation Israel, to the nation of Israel, to the Jewish nation only. The word is only. One cannot read of God imposing the Sabbath on any people, but the Hebrews. You are hereby informed and reformed that there were different nations then, in case you are unaware. I mean, Moabites and others. But God gave this rules to the Hebrews only. That's why we use the word only. So you see, it means all the neighboring suburbs or all the neighboring nations were excluded. And even this was not given to the patriarchs. So Abraham was not even part. Remember that the Mosaic age came to overshadow the patriarchal age. That's why we said only, to the Hebrews only. Now point 2. When was the Sabbath given? When was the Sabbath given? It was given in the wilderness of sin after Israel escaped from Egypt. Exodus 16 verse 1 and 23. I will try to read some portion. They set out from Elim, and the congregation of the people of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month after they had departed from the land of Egypt. Go to verse 23. I mean, Exodus 16. Verse 23. So it is 1 and then verse 23. I love challenge, so I prefer to read. He said to them, this is what the Lord has commanded. Tomorrow is a day of solemn rest, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. Bake what you will bake and boil what you will boil. And all that is left over, lay aside to be kept till the morning. I think already I've read it. So we see that when was the Sabbath given? It was given to it was given in the wilderness of Sin after Israel escaped from Egypt. So we have seen the Israel. This was new, or this was a new experience. It had to be made known unto them. God had to make this officially known to them. When a man broke the Sabbath, they had to ask what to do unto him. Numbers 15 verse 32 to 35 or even 36. Numbers. Numbers 15 verse 32. While the people of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering sticks on the Sabbath day, verse 33. And those who found him gathering sticks brought him to Moses and Aaron and to all the congregation, verse 34. They put him in custody, because it had not been made clear what should be done to him. Verse 35. And the Lord said to Moses, the man shall be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones outside the camp. Verse 36. And all the congregation brought him outside the camp and stoned him to death with stones, as the Lord commanded Moses. So we say that when a man broke the Sabbath law or the Sabbath, they had to ask what to do unto him. There was no Sabbath day for man prior to 1500 BC. No Sabbath law existed. So when you hear of 1500 BC, we are making reference to a patriarchal age. No Sabbath law was there. So even Abraham lived not under the law of Sabbath. We are saying that before Moses, God spoke through the fathers, the progenitor or the ancestor or the ancestors of the family. So he communicated to this ancestor. Then he passed on the information to the family or the clan. That's why we say patriarchal age. Patriarch. That's why we say that Abraham was a patriarch. Hebrews 7 verse 4. All right, we move on. 2.3. Why was the Sabbath given? So the first was to whom, now when, and now why. Why was the Sabbath given? I think this is good for those who go for personal work, door-to-door evangelism. I mean, you don't waste your time. You question yourself, you answer it. So simple. I think by this, the person need to ask you, he need or she needs not to ask you any question again, because all the questions have been answered. So we say that why was the Sabbath given? It is a sign between me and you. The me and you, the you there is Hebrew, and the me there is God. It is a sign, or you can say it was a sign between me. So the me is capital M, representing God. I mean a noun, and you Hebrews, that you may know that I am Jehovah, who sanctified you. We are on Exodus 31 verse 18. Let's read something. Exodus 31 verse 18. 31 verse 18. Very good. You are to speak to the people of Israel and say, above all you shall keep my Sabbath, for this is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I, the Lord, sanctify you. So we're saying that or it was a sign, or it is a sign between me and you, God and the Hebrews, God and Israelites. Also, the Sabbath helped them remember their servitude in Egypt and how God delivered them. And we know servitude, their slavery, their bondage. Now Deuteronomy 5 verse 15. Deuteronomy 5 verse 15. Deuteronomy 5 verse 15. You shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God brought you out from there with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore the Lord your God commanded you to keep the Sabbath day. To whom? The Israelites. Now point 4. Once again, I find this topic so cheap and interesting. Are Christians to observe the Sabbath day? Are Christians, and here's my summation. Are Christians, when I say Christian, when we say a Christian, we see this in Acts 11, verse 26, sorry. The same Acts 26, verse 28. Now 1 Peter 4, verse 16. A Christian, property of Christ, a disciple or follower of Christ. When you are following Christ, you become his property. So we say that a Christian is a disciple of Christ, and a disciple is a follower. Now, if you go to Shaolin Temple, all the monks are called disciples because they are learning under a master. So Christ was a master. His apprentices were the 12. So we prove in the Bible that a Christian is a follower. Number 2, a Christian is a disciple. Before we say a Christian is a property of Christ. Because if I have a dog, my dog will follow me. In fact, we have some people who may condemn that a Christian isn't a follower. A Christian is a follower. A Christian, we are following Christ. I am a mentee. Christ is our mentor. So what am I doing? I am not just his property, but also I follow him. So this proves this to be right, that a Christian is a disciple of Christ. Number 2, a Christian is a follower of Christ. Number 3, now if you're a disciple and then a follower, then you become his property, his own. All right. Now, we are point 4. As I said, are Christians to observe the Sabbath day? No. In fact, capital no. No. God told Israel, or the Israelites, to keep the Sabbath for a perpetual covenant. Exodus 31, verse 16. I think I've read it. I will check. In case I've not read it, then I will pick it again. Exodus 31. 1 verse 16. Exodus 31 verse 16. Therefore the people of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, observing the Sabbath throughout their generations as a covenant forever. No, God told the Israelites to keep the Sabbath for a perpetual covenant. But he also said, I will also cause all her mates to cease and her Sabbath. Let's see Hosea or Hosea. I will see if I can open and then read. Hosea, very good. I'm there. Hosea 2 verse 11. Please check. In case I am mistaken, then next time I'll correct it. We are all learning anyway. Hosea 2 16. You can say Hosea. So prophet Hosea. And in that day, declares the Lord, you will call me my husband, and no longer will you call me my band. Hosea 2 verse 11. Sorry, please. I was reading 16 verse 11. And I will put an end to all her mates, her feasts, her new moons, her Sabbaths, and all her appointed feasts. So Sabbath is mentioned here. That's why we are saying that I will also cause all her mates to cease and her Sabbath. So Sabbath is no more. In setting up his kingdom, Christ abolished the entire old covenant. Ephesians 2 verse 14 to 15. I will read. Now I'm reading from the 21st Revised King James Version. Ephesians. I'm there. Ephesians 2 verse 14. For he is our peace, who has made both one and has broken down the middle wall of separation. Verse 15. Having abolished in his flesh the enmity, which is the law of commandments contained in ordinances, in order to make in himself of the two one new man, thus making peace. So Christ abolished the entire old covenant. When we say old, we mean the Mosaic dispensation or age in which people are observing the Sabbath. This included the Sabbath. Colossians 2 verse 14 to 16. This included the Sabbath. In case you want to debate. Colossians 2 verse 14 to 16. This one is our popular quotation that we normally use it to prove the old covenant. 2 verse 14 to 16. Wiping out. You see how it even started, or it started. Wiping out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us. We are making reference to the Mosaic age or dispensation, which was contrary to us. And he took it out of the way because it was causing problem to us. He took it out of the way, having nailed it to the cross. When Christ died was when the Mosaic age became obsolete. Hebrews 8 verse 13. I continue in verse 15 and 16. And having disarmed principalities and powers, he made a public display of them, triumphing over them in it. Verse 16. Therefore, let no one judge you in food or in drink, or in respect to a festival of a new moon, or of Sabbath. Of Sabbath. This has been abolished. Christ has fulfilled it, so it is no more. Jesus gave us a new covenant. Hebrews 9:15. Hebrews 9:15. Once again, it is so cheap to teach this because the texts are even signifying that the Sabbath is no more. Hebrews 9:15. And for this reason, he is the mediator of the new covenant, so that by means of death, for the redemption of transgressions committed under the first covenant. The first is still under the Mosaic dispensation. Those who have been called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. Our inheritance is eternal, not to go to Canaan. We are saying that the Mosaic age led to Canaan. Ours is going to heaven. It does not bind the Sabbath. So the New Testament has no rules regarding the Sabbath. It has become obsolete. Now we are on B, 10 rules on the Sabbath. 10 rules on the Sabbath. So we say that the following rules were enforced on the Sabbath day. 1, do not work. So Exodus 20 verse 10. Exodus 20 verse 10. 20 verse 10. But the 7th day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, or your son, or your daughter, your male servant, or your female servant, or your livestock, or the sojourner who is within your gates. Do not work. We have this as the first law. Do not work. Point 2. Work only for 6 days. Exodus 35, verse 2a. Because I will use the B and C for different things. So, Exodus 35. Yes. So 35 verse 2a. Exodus. 6 days work shall be done. That's all. 6 days. So work for only 6 days. Now point 3. Violators were put to death. We are still on Exodus 35 verse 2, B and C. So I continue the reading. But on the 7th day you shall have a Sabbath of solemn rest, holy to the Lord. Whoever does any work on it shall be put to death. Now we are still in the same Exodus 31 verse 14 and 15. 31 14 and 15. You shall keep the Sabbath, because it is holy for you. Everyone who profanes it shall be put to death. Whoever does any work on it, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. Verse 15. 6 days you shall work. 6 days shall work be done. But the 7th day is a Sabbath of solemn rest, holy to the Lord. Whoever does any work on the Sabbath day shall be put to death. Now point 4. Build no fire. Build no fire. Exodus 35 verse 3. You shall kindle no fire in all your dwelling places on the Sabbath day. So which means don't use firewood at all. No baking of bread, nothing. Don't light at all. That's why we say build no fire. Now, point 5, gather no food and no cooking. Exodus 16, verse 23 to 26. Exodus 16, verse 23 to 26. He said to them, this is what the Lord has commanded. Tomorrow is a day of solemn rest, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. Bake what you will bake and boil what you will boil. Of course, this already I've read it. And all that is left over, lay aside to be kept till the morning. Verse 24. So they laid it, you see, so they means the Israelites. So they laid it aside till the morning, as Moses commanded them, because Moses was the mediator of God. So they feared him as they fear God, or they feared God. And it did not stink, and there were no worms in it. So here is making reference to the manna, if you want to put it. Verse 25. Moses said, eat it today, for today is a Sabbath to the Lord. Today you will not find it in the field. Of course, as I said, this is making reference to the manna. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the 7th day, which is a Sabbath, there will be done. Very good. So now we are on point 6. Buy no food. Nehemiah, or Nehemiah, if you want. Nehemiah, where are you? Nehemiah. I have another point on Jeremiah, but I will check the Nehemiah. If I hope you can read Nehemiah 10, verse 31. Nehemiah 10, verse 31. I'm coming. I'll find it for you right now. Nehemiah 10, 31. Nehemiah 10, verse 31. 10:31. Esther, Nehemiah, very good. So from Nehemiah you go to Esther, of course. Nehemiah 10, verse 31. At times, it's easy to open the Bible because I'm alone. So sorry for the delay. Buy no food. So Nehemiah 10, verse 31. I read. And if the peoples of the land bring in goods or any grain on the Sabbath day to sell, we will not buy from them on the Sabbath or on a holy day, and we will forego the crops of the 7th year and the exaction of every year debt. Buy no food, so no trading. Now, point 7, bear no burden. So Jeremiah 17, verse 21 and 22. Bear no burden. So Jeremiah 7. I said 17, sorry. Verse 21 and 22. So Jeremiah 17, verse 21. Thus says the Lord, take care for the sake of your life, and do not bear a burden on the Sabbath day, or bring it in by the gates of Jerusalem. Bear no burden. You're going to rest. Bear no burden. Stay near home. Exodus 16, verse 29. Stay near home. Stay near home. 16, verse 29. Stay near home. 16, verse 29. See, the Lord has given you the Sabbath. Therefore, on the 6th day, he gives you bread or 2 days. Remain each of you in his place. Let no one go out of his place on the 7th day. Stay near home. Point 9. 2 lambs were offered by the congregation for sacrifice. Numbers 28, verse 9 and 10. If I'm not mistaken. Numbers Numbers will be after Leviticus, of course. Numbers 28. Verse 9 and 10. Numbers 28, verse 9 and 10. On the Sabbath day, 2 male lambs, a year old without blemish, and 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour for a grain offering, mixed with oil, and its drink offering. Verse 10. This is the burnt offering of every Sabbath, besides the regular burnt offering and its drink offering. So specifically, 2 lambs were offered by the congregation for sacrifice. The last point, worship was by the law of Moses. Acts 15, verse 21. Acts 15, verse 21. Acts 15, verse 21. For Moses from ancient generations has in every city those who preach him, being read in synagogues every Sabbath. So the worship was by the law of Moses. So those are the 10 rules governing the Sabbath for the Israelites. Now, conclusion. 1. The Sabbath was cancelled when Christ died on the cross. Already I've read Colossians 2, verse 14 to 16. Number 2. Sabbath keepers persecute and kill Christ. John 5, verse 18. Let's see something there. Those who claim that they are they worship on Sabbath, or you see, some are not worshiping precisely because they are attending SDA, but we have some churches who also worship on Saturday. You are all the same, my friends. You are all the same. You are all persecuting Christ. So don't run away that I was referring to SDA. No. Anybody who will worship or who worships on Saturday, it means you are observing the Sabbath. So 5 verse 18, John. Therefore, the Jews sought all the more to kill him, because he not only was breaking the Sabbath, but also said that God was his father, making himself equal with God. Yes, so Christ was king even on the Sabbath. He did not observe the Sabbath, in case you are unaware. So we see that the Sabbath keepers persecute and kill Christ, as the Jews were looking for a chance to kill Jesus Christ, because they were still obeying the Mosaic law. They did not recognize Jesus Christ as a new king, so they thought that they were supposed to obey all what Moses said. They are antichrist. Anybody who worships on Saturday is an antichrist, or can I say antichrist. It means you are going against his kingdom. One true church of Christ, which we worship only on Sundays. Now, point 3, the Sabbath was abolished by Jesus Christ. Romans 10 verse 4. Romans 10 verse 4. Romans 10 verse 4. For Christ is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone who believes. End of the law is Jesus Christ. I repeat myself. For Christ is the end of law for righteousness to everyone who believes. Now the last one. Are there any Sabbath keepers that observe the Sabbath according to God's word? Early Christians worshipped on the first day of the week. No, I will even ask you this before we continue. Now, those who claim that they worship on Saturdays, are you sure you are able to obey all the 10 rules? I mean, are you sure? Or you are being hypocrites? Sheeps in wolf clothing, pretending to be something that you cannot do. Are you sure? Are you very sure that you are observing all the 10 rules? And even if so, my friend, your worship was under Mosaic dispensation. So, in vain they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandment of men. Mark 7 verse 7, Matthew 15 verse 9. Your worship is vain worship because Christ is the king. Matthew 17 verse 5. He is my beloved son. Hear him. God didn't say, hear Moses, hear Christ. And Christ brought his kingdom, Church of Christ, the Christian age, the Christian dispensation, to conquer and condemn the Mosaic dispensation. It even came to take away the Roman Empire and not the Roman Church. So we think that the early Christians worshipped on the first day of the week. Acts 20 verse 7. 1 Corinthians 16 verse 1 to 2. Faithful Christians worship on Sunday. Antichrist worship on Saturday. So having said that, my question again is that we're supposed to worship on Sunday. Christ has brought a more flexible age, being the Christian age. So if we're a Christian, please don't abuse the name, because at the end you're going to account for being a hypocrite, using Christ's name to sin or to work for Satan. You are Antichrist because you are using your religion to oppose his kingdom, and at the end you go to hell. Now someone will ask, why was hell created? For Satan persecuting Christians, so in case you are unaware. So it's not about for sinners per se, but hell was created specifically for Satan, for persecuting Christians. So if you are worshiping in different denominations, as such, Christ's kingdom, Christ's Church of Christ, then it means you are an Antichrist. You are a mannequin of Satan doing his advert. So denomination was precisely brought about to fight against the kingdom of God. In case you don't know about a denomination, they exist to oppose a Church of Christ. So simple. You see, to me, you cannot come and debate with me because I have my first aid to defend myself. Unless you don't learn the Bible. But if you have been learning the Bible, there's no way you can defeat me when it comes to the Bible. Concerning worship. We have the patriarchal, the Mosaic, and then the Christian age. So if you're a Christian, you must be property of Christ. You must bear membership of the church. You must have your ID card. You mean that you should be baptized? No, you must be baptized into the church. You do not stay or no school at come University of Science and Technology and then bear the ID card or bear ID card of University of Mines and Technology. No. When you are studying at NAS, University of Science and Technology, you bear their ID card. Your portal is there. So they are able to upload your results in it. So also if you are in UMAT, you have the ID card, your portal is with them. At the end, they are going to graduate you, give you certificates. So you don't bear two membership, then you become a fraud. Yes, you are a fraud because for holding two ID cards. Unless maybe you are studying in two different institutions. But now, you must be baptized and worship, remain faithfully in Church of Christ. Otherwise, when you die, at the end, my friend, you go to hell. I'm giving you righteous judgment that there is time for a redemption. Had I known, it's a foolish man saying, it is not always at last. Because I'm here telling you that, repent from your church, be humble enough, get baptized, attend a healthy Church of Christ. Why am I saying healthy? Because not all are healthy, because some preachers are not current. They are there to worship themselves, so they play, they sing, some even dance, some even speak tongues. So find a Church of Christ which is healthy to attend, remain faithfully. Then at the end, God will have mercy on your soul. Had I known, it's a foolish man saying. Had I known, it's always at last. It's a foolish man saying. You are warned. There's always a warning before destruction. Ezekiel 3 verse 12. May God bless us. Ezekiel 3 verse 18 says that There is always a warning before destruction. So I'm warning you. So don't say I'm judging you. I'm giving you the righteous judgment. I'm trying to direct you that leave from where you are and then join my church. And if you remain faithfully, or if you remain faithful, God will redeem you or your soul at the end. Having said that, next week, if there's no obstruction, in case I have any obstruction, then I'll come on Sunday. Why a Sunday worship? To disprove the Sabbath worship. So having said that, my name is Joseph Fata. Please bring your comments. We are all learning anyway. We are all learning. And there's no way I'll be annoyed. In case you even insult me, I won't be annoyed. Because a teaching goes with insult. So me, I don't care. If you insult me, you will insult my shirt and not my personality. I'm here to preach the undiluted doctrines of Christ. My doctrines are undiluted. Okay, so thank you for your time, and then catch you next week. Bye bye.